everybody's had a chance to review the past meeting minutes. If there's any questions or issues. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion accept.
Rick Bernay, motion to accept the minutes. Second. Terry Bentley. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're going to start out tonight because we have a lot of guests in attendance here. We're going to start out with a new business, and we're going to have a CON update from the CON chair, and then we're going to open it to some discussion amongst the people involved here tonight.
Okay. Right now, we have, well, currently we've got, what we're working on is COVA's CON for an expansion into the eastern part of the county, of Orleans County. Their application came in, was reviewed. There were some additional comments that we had sent them off. Lori's responded to the comments. We have those, and the CON committee's going to be getting together after this to review their application to see if that's complete so we can move the process forward. We also received a CON application on July 15th. It was from a company called Ambulance Western New York, Inc. As soon as we got that, it was rescinded, and they told us just sit on it because they have additional work to do, which they obviously did, and just looking at the first few boxes they checked and what they were trying to accomplish. So that one is forthcoming, but it is out there. That's our second CON that we're working on. Last night we received a third CON application. That one is from Mercy EMS, and what they're looking to do is expand into Niagara County to fill the void that rural metro AMR by pulling out a Lockport in different areas. So that's what their application is for. And some of the representation from COVA's here, and Don is here from Mercy and some of his contingent. So I'm sure if we have some general questions that we want to ask, they're be willing to entertain some questions and or give us an idea of what they're trying to achieve. The committee was given the information for their application today, but I don't believe everybody's reviewed it at this point, but at least that's going to be in process, and we have 10 days to either deem the applications complete and get that off to the state, so the fitness and competency portion of it. So, anybody have questions regarding the cons that at this point? Just okay.
Don, would you be willing to give us just a quick overview of what the whole process is and what your intentions are?
Sure, thank you. Just very briefly, I mean, obviously, Mercy MS is a subdivision of Mercy Flight Incorporated. Our partners in Niagara County have reached out to us from Fire Service and Emergency Management and Sheriff's Office and so forth, and asked us to consider applying for a CON for expansion to help assist in the needs in Niagara County. Not just the most recent scenario or situation, but certainly the needs that they've been seeing for some time throughout Niagara County. It is not our intention whatsoever to push anyone out or take anyone's business or anything along those lines. It's simply our goal to help assist the county with providing that level of service that they feel they're not getting enough of at this point. So that's our goal. Again, it's working together with the other providers and certainly with the county to do such a thing. In terms of mutual aid, that's certainly not allowable for regular type of scenario and situation like that. So it would be best positioned to be able to help whatever community needs the help in that circumstance. Very similar situation to how Genesee County started, for Mercy EMS, where we were asked, and exactly the same situation where Springville and Concord and Erie County was, where we were asked to come in. We've met with several folks in Niagara County for, well, over obviously the last several years, and we, said this, wouldn't work, and we feel we're in a position now to help assist them with the other providers to service the county.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Don?
Mr. Chairman. Brian Bronner, CEO, Twin City Ambulance. I know many of you here, some of you I don't. Just to comment on Don's application, certainly this will progress further through the CON committee, but the 2 points of concern for us are, one, in the establishment of need, you have to demonstrate throughout the entire geographic area a reduction or absence of availability. We certainly believe that is not true in southern Niagara County, and therefore an entire countywide CON probably is not appropriate in this case. The communities we serve in the town of Lockport, town of Wakefield, city of North Tonawanda, city of Lockport, and town of Pendleton are well served and well covered. There's not a reduction of availability or an absence of ambulances there, and certainly don't think there should be an issue. Additionally, we've been expanding to provide service in areas that need it, most recently into Frontiers Fire District and to Eastern Niagara Hospital. We're finishing up an agreement with them. We'll be providing complete service to them in the very near future. We continue to hire and train to do that and make ourselves available as a current certificate holder through redistribution of our assets and growth to help. The other part that I think is important to note here, and would really implore the CON committee to consider, is as you address this, the resource issue comes into play. And the resource here is not ambulances, it's not cardiac monitors, it's not stretchers, it's human capital. It is quality certified personnel that can be distributed in a time of need. I don't think anybody here is surprised that there's a shortage around the state, throughout the industry, and really around the planet. I'm sure you're feeling it in your volunteer services, you're feeling your ability to crew up and recruit. We're feeling that as commercial providers as well and making best efforts to get people there. The addition of a third CON holder for a commercial entity across the county wouldn't benefit this in any way. It would actually dilute current certified personnel that are allocated through the 2 countywide commercial CON holders into a third, which I believe would actually reduce the availability of service. So unless Don and his peers at Mercy Flight can address the issue of how they're going to create additional providers and not just cannibalize the providers that exist at other entities, I don't believe that this is a positive redistribution of assets in any way for the county or like the county.
Thank you. Do you want to respond to that, Don?
Well, I mean, I would encourage everyone to review the CON application at this point. I think that the fact-finding information that's provided in our packet and so forth certainly explains some of Brian's concerns and how our plan is to address that and so forth. As far as personnel is concerned, certainly we all struggle for personnel. We have never and will never embark on a situation where we feel that we are not able to do it well. Most of all of you in the room are very familiar with Mr. Baker and Sister Sheila and Margie Carantino. And they have made it loud and clear from day one of my involvement at Mercy Flight, and certainly well before that, that they don't do things in a half type of portion. And they will not engage in the situations they do not feel they can meet the company's standards and the organization's standards. So we don't take these types of decisions lightly. We have told, as referenced by the other providers, certainly other communities and so forth, that we would not be able to assist them. We struggled with this decision, but feel that we are, as a not-for-profit provider and an independent provider, certainly in the best position to help rural communities, and that's what we continue to do. And Niagara County as a whole is that. The countywide CON application, again, is not in purpose of trying to push any other provider out, but simply provide us the opportunity to not have to come here every 6 months or 12 months to reapply for the next community that may be struggling and ask for help. It's not diluting the pool in that circumstance. So I think there's many opportunities for that pool to continue to grow.
How do you plan on providing service? Are you going to bring an ambulance out and leave it here? You plan on building a building? What are your plans for the county?
So as we proceed forward, just as when we expanded into the Springville Concord area, we did not take ambulances from our current Genesee County operation, and we subsequently will not be doing that for a Niagara County situation. You know, everything is a new acquisition in that circumstance. So ambulances going into those scenarios would either be current reserve vehicles that will be replaced with new purchases of vehicles and so forth. As far as quarters are concerned, as we have done in Genesee County, as we have done in Southern Erie County, we will certainly be moving into a permanent facility should this come to fruition. You know, our goal is to always make sure that our crews are in a comfortable setting, but certainly located in a position where they're ready to and able to respond at, you know, a moment's notice in that regard. So as far as building a building versus leasing a building, I can't answer that question until we, you know, get to that point. But I can promise you there's going to be a facility and they would be dedicated resources to that community. They're not going to be a whole shared resource in that circumstance.
So community meaning all of Niagara County, or a certain part of the county, or a community? I'm with Tri-County Ambulance.
Yes.
I just wanna know where, what you're gonna set up, and that's what I wanna know.
No, I understand that, and it certainly is going to be based on the needs of the county. We've had multiple conversations with the emergency management department from the county and several of the different communities. You know, our goal isn't to come in and take your calls away, but certainly if we could help to supplement your situation and other situations throughout the county, that's the goal. I mean, rural EMS is not a easy task by any stretch of the means. Certainly my counterparts here would agree with me, okay? It's, especially in a business environment, you know, it can be difficult. But working together in a partnership scenario, okay, and teaming together to, you know, provide those resources and not fighting with each other, it makes it much easier to provide that level of service that each of our residents, regardless of the community they live in, expect. And that's, you know, that's our goal when it comes to that, is to do just that. So whether, you know, that happens to be today it's this township or tomorrow it's the next township, you know, again, it can't be a regular and routine situation when you look at a mutual aid scenario. And that gets very muddy. Very muddy, very difficult. And it certainly gets difficult when you start talking about trying to recover, you know, some level of revenue in that circumstance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tom Axon, Regional Director for AMR. What we have done here is exactly what 0606 prescribed to be done. 0606 calls for a reallocation and a recoordination of resources. And as we are transitioning some of our business in the eastern side of the county, that's going to enable us to focus on the western side of the county, folks who rely on us. Not only were we able to undertake that reallocation ourselves, we were able to do that with the other CON holder in the county as well. That's precisely what 06.06 or 0606 tells us to do. The idea is if you can reallocate and recoordinate resources so the communities are better served, there is no need by definition, and that's precisely why we've undertaken the actions that we have taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any?
John Schultz, Niagara County Emergency Services. Thank you both for your comments, and I thank you both for what you've done over the past few weeks to try to assist us in Niagara County, but we're still forgetting about 60% of the county. You know, reallocating the resources to the south, reallocating the resources to the west in the city of Niagara Falls helps. We still have 65% of the county that's struggling. We had a Fire Chiefs Association meeting 3 weeks ago where this topic came up. And I can tell you the support is there for the interest and the assistance from another agency in the county. We are not getting the service to all of Niagara County. We are not getting the service to all the citizens of Niagara County at this point. Yes, you have followed 0606 as it states. Every fire chief in Niagara County received a letter from AMR a few weeks ago stating that all resources will be pulled back to the city of Niagara Falls, creating mass hysteria in Niagara County. Many fire departments are struggling now with maintaining EMS service, let alone fire service on top of EMS service. This has not only compounded the worry, but exacerbated the problem within the county. To this day, I've still been waiting to have a meeting with any individuals from AMR to come to my office from higher level management to discuss their operations and what the plans are for the western end of the county. I hear hearsay from various individuals, I hear various stories which seem to change by the day, which is fine, I understand it. I understand business, I understand how business operates. I have a master's degree in business, I understand what the operating model needs to be and how it operates. I said, we're talking about people's lives here. And we're talking about the concern for competition. You know, we bring in another provider, we're taking bodies from one to the other. We're talking about cannibalizing from other vendors. I'm not worried about that. I have issues in this county where citizens are going 15, 20 plus minutes waiting for EMS providers. I know this isn't just an Niagara County issue. This is a nationwide issue. And this needs to be looked at seriously as we go through the certificate of need process, which is a flawed process to begin with, which is a lengthy process, which is absurd. We need to look at the citizens in our county and what's happening. Yes, to the south, Twin Cities has been doing a phenomenal job. Yes, to the west, AMR is taking care of that issue to the west. And 65% of the county I still need to worry about. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your points, absolutely well made. And the issue is simply this: if it's 65% of the county that has a need, then the application and the grant of that application should be for that 65% of the county. Need by definition is need within the geographic or geopolitical boundaries that we're talking about. If it is 65%, then the application is proper for 65%. And ultimately, after the CON process is completed, if there's a grant, it should be for that 65%. By definition, if that's where the need is, then that's where the need is. 35% of the county is obviously adequate.
One last comment to address that, and I know we want to move on. 65% con is not acceptable. Letters sent to the fire service with a 30-day pullout from a commercial agency, unacceptable. If we do not have a countywide certificate of need for any agency, XYZ agency, Mercy EMS, it needs to be countywide. Who knows where we might be in a year from now? Who knows where we might be in 6 months? I don't want to go through this bullshit again for the citizens in our county. I apologize for the swearing, but there's some very upset individuals in the county right now. To start parsing out a certificate of need based on other commercial entities, unacceptable. When you look at the entire county as a whole, who knows where we'll be in 5 years, 2 years, 1 month. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for any of the speakers? Yes, sir.
I got a comment. Back when AMR came for their transfer from rural metro to AMR, you know, I made a statement. I did make the motion to grant that. There was a lot of problems in Niagara Falls, and I guess they straightened them out. And but my comment as a whole was, I think the whole CON process is way out of line anymore. Because over the years, these companies have come in and bought up CONs and licenses and everything else. And now they control everything. And whenever it fits them and it's their business, you know, they decide to pull out of different fire districts and everything, you know, it leaves a big hole in the whole system. And I think there's always a need for ambulances. And, you know, this whole system that we have going now, you know, that companies have to come here and beg, you know, Town of Niagara is one of the companies that were affected by it. You know, we run a lot of EMS calls. You know, if they didn't come up with some kind of solution, our residents in the town and the visitors in Factory Island Mall and Borders in Niagara Falls would be without any ambulance service. And it's all because of this whole CON process. You know, I'm not a fan of it at all. You know, the proven need. And then right now we have commercial ambulance companies, you know, bucking heads and deciding, you know, what's needed in our county. You know, it's just uncalled for. So I think we, somewhere on this level, to the state level or whatever, you know, we really need to start taking a look at the way the EMS service is run.
Thank you.
Everybody else has gone twice, I might as well. With respect to the chief and the fire coordinator, I'll not speak to whether I believe that we should have a certificate of need, but the reality is that we do. Like it or not, EMS is regulated. We live in a state where there are barriers to entry. Those barriers are established by New York state law. If we want to petition to change those, we should petition to change those. I would encourage this council and any other to do so. But for as long as we operate as councils, for as long as we operate in the state of New York, we are bound to operate by the standards set forth in that law and by Bureau of EMS policy statement. Gentlemen make compelling arguments why we shouldn't have that law and those policy statements, but we do. And for as long as we do, we expect that everybody's going to play by those rules. And I think that's the reasonable expectation of anybody who holds a CON, and should be the reasonable expectation of anybody who's applying for a CON.
Further discussion or comment? Okay, at this point, I'll ask the general manager from COVID to just give us a brief overview of their CON application and what they're interested in achieving.
County CON, and they requested 4 items, and I've submitted them to Sean Downing, Chairman, CON Committee.
And this expansion is to encompass the entire county?
Yes. The entire county. For the same reasons they say, in 5 years you don't know what's gonna happen, and we've discussed it with Medina Fire, who serves the Western, and we're working together on this. We want our county to be covered by us and not by commercial agencies.
Any questions or comments for COVID? Okay, at this point we'll move on with the meeting. All our guests are welcome to stay if they wish. If they want to sit through the rest of the meeting, that's fine. I'll thank them now in advance. If they decide they want to leave, that's fine. Okay, we'll move on to the treasurer's report.
Same balance as last meeting, $1,851.81. Sean is working on the gateway project, so we can get reimbursed for things. We cannot apply for any money right now. He's having trouble with the IRS. I don't know if you want to go into that a little further.
Yeah. What John started working on with the gateway project is quite a task in trying to get everything complete. He did a great job getting a lot of the initial things in there. We've since updated some of the documents that expired, needed to be updated. One of the items that we were lacking in our initial review there's like a pre-review of it, which I had mentioned before. The person that did the pre-review gave us comments back. It's kind of like the con. You submit your application, they review it, tell you what you're deficient. One of them was in our tax returns. We've never filed a tax return, and in the previous 3 years, if you haven't filed a return, your EIN number becomes expired, so we had to file for a new EIN number. We got that, we thought we were great, we were gonna move forward. It said after a few weeks you can apply for what's called an E-post, which is in lieu of doing a 990. If your income is less than 50,000 or less, you can do an E-post, which most councils do. I went online, started to fill everything out. When it got to the point where you have to put in your EIN number, it says our EIN number is not valid. So it gives you a number you have to call. I called the number. You're in line, and if anyone's seen any of the stories with the IRS, they're grossly under-exaggerated, because it tells you a 15-30 minute wait after 40, 50, an hour plus. I'm still on the phone, and unfortunately I had to go back to work. I've done that at least 3-4 times, and you're just in a holding pattern, and nobody ever seems to want to pick up the phone to get that question answered on what to do with our EIN number that they say is not valid, that they gave us. So the only option is just to reach out back to the coordinator for the gateway and say, this is what we're experiencing, what is his suggestion? Mine is just submit what we have. We're not gonna have the E-post, and see if they give us access, because until they give us access and grant us permission, into this gateway, we cannot submit it for any reimbursement. So any of the money we've had in our account has since been depleted, the funds are down to nothing, and that's where we stand. We've paid everybody's request as best we could up to this point, but we were hoping to get reimbursed, but those funds just disappear. So if we don't get that project completed, we lose the money. It just goes back into the general fund and it gets reallocated again next year. So that is our problem. So if there is any accountant, anybody with the IRS or anybody who knows, come and see me and give me a pointer on how to get around this. Because so far nobody's been able to help me, so. That's what I got. Sorry.
Yeah. We do have checks for the cons for $5,000, but they have to go to a separate account. So we can't touch that, so. We're stuck with our 1,800, whatever, for the last 3 meetings. Any questions on the treasurer's?
Okay, we'll move on to the program agency report.
Oh, we did a few classes since last time we met. Just some approvals that I'm going through is South Wilson for BLS nasal Narcan, and a medical director change for Miller Hose from Dr. Pecoraro to McNamara. For the REMAC annual skills update, sorry I didn't email everybody out to the county peoples, but everybody is all kosher on to doing the Big Lakes REMAC annual skills, so we definitely like to thank everybody that participated in that. A lot better than last year. So, and we do have a certified instructor update in CME that is coming to East Shelby September 24th. You can register online at lpccnems.org under education. Just another reminder, November 15th, Lee Burns is having a state of EMS meeting at Niagara County. And this has been brought up at the last REMAC meeting at the current level of AEMT CC critical care. It's been brought up at the state several times. It's currently the curriculum is severely outdated, and they're trying to figure out what they can do to either continue it, make a bridge thing, or something like that. And Niagara County is one of the most used county that uses critical cares. We do have one agency, which is Alcott, that uses critical cares. And we have on record of 50 providers in the county that do critical care level. So it is being used quite substantially. So if they get rid of the level, things like that, it'd be pretty detrimental. But they're trying to look at ways. They have a con at the state set up, see what they can do, if they can try to push out more paramedic programs or etc. Because I know, I guess NU was interested in maybe doing like a paramedic program. John, is that correct?
Yes, we still are. We're looking at a transition. If I can chime in.
Sure.
The last state meeting, Lee Burns made it extremely clear that the level 3 is not dead.
Mm-hmm.
She went so far as to say that, I'll use my words, it's almost political suicide.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the Training and Education Committee actually is working on reworking the curriculum. The chair for the CMAC has also put together a group to take a look at it, but there are a lot of things. Possibly we're going to look at putting the ugly word, the bridge word to use to get everybody, which we strongly support at the university and hope to be breaking the ground for that. But walking away with the conception that the level 3 is in jeopardy, I think you need only to watch the video of the last REMSCO CMAC meetings to see that that's not the case. And it is being used middle state. So it was good to see that Twin City is advertising for level 3 back there, and I hear that may be true with also AMR. That you're hiring. Yeah, so the solution to this problem, and I really didn't want to chime in, but I'm going to chime in anyways, is there are no bodies. We need to look at new creative ways of recruiting people into the EMS field. That people are leaving and dying off. We need more people. What anybody can do to bring people into the field is going to help everybody.
Okay, just a quick question. What is the number of critical cares in New York State? Do we have any idea what the number of CCs are in New York State? Anybody?
I would think it's about 800, maybe 900. It's under 1,000, is my understanding.
Now,
Throughout the that was a 3-year ago number, I believe.
okay.
And I will I'll double check on that just because I'm sort of talking from memory, and that can get a little blurry sometimes, So, but I think it's under 1,000. To be honest with you.
About how many in Niagara County?
You
You have that number?
50.
50, okay,
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been coming to
50
these
certified
meetings,
or 50
I've been coming to these
practicing?
meetings for over 20 years. The CC has been a discussion on a regular basis. Okay, we've donated hours and hours of these meetings to the CCs. The simple solution was that the state was supposed to do a bridge class to turn the CCs into paramedics. That's been going on for probably the last 7 or 8 years. I mean, we keep wasting breath on the CCs. We need to talk to the state and see if they can come up with a class in less than 10 years to make these people paramedics. So just think about how much time we've donated to this critical care, which is important, but it should be a done deal. I mean, we have hundreds of hours invested in them.
I stand corrected. There's about 1,800. I forgot the other 1,000. Okay. There's,
See what I'm saying? Nobody really knows, though. We don't know.
But let me make sure that I think there's about 800 in this region. Is where I've got those numbers.
What, in
And that was not in Niagara.
Not Niagara, okay.
Western New
There's
York.
only
All right.
50 now.
But-
How many of those are certified and that are desk medics versus actively practicing? We can't break
But
that
what
down.
happened with the bridge program
And-
that they
well,
were supposed to do?
Keep
What
in mind,
happened to that?
keep in mind two other things, is that, those numbers, depending on how many agencies these people work for too. I mean, you change the patches and, they're working for various agencies and those things happen. But the number of certified providers doesn't necessarily change, so.
Wouldn't the state be better off if they just turned everybody into paramedics? Wouldn't they be better off? Can anybody agree with me? Oh, I have one person agreeing with me.
I'm not agreeing with you. I want to be recognized. The other thing is too, the other thing is, those 50 people may not want to become paramedics either. That's the other thing.
I think
That's the
Okay,
truth.
but now, how old are these people? Because I've been here 20 years and we've been talking about this. These people gotta be getting their retirement age. And that's true, that is a true statement.
Just to differentiate a couple things, just from the state's perspective, and Lee Burns is certainly, advocated that the certification level is not going away from the state's perspective. However, from your REMAC doctors, that's something that from a regional perspective, those guys write the protocols, and if you look at the county, Monroe County, Monroe Livingston, they did away with the critical care level. They have EMT and they have paramedic, and that's just one region away, okay?
How's it
And
working out?
they did that at the REMAC level, okay?
Okay.
So, I think that it's, you can sit and everybody likes to target the state and how terrible the state is.
Yes,
However,
that's
there are
true.
good things about the state, and I
What?
will emphasize that, and certainly we could debate that if you like. But the other component of that is that I think that it's important. You look at, my perspective or my recommendation would be for the regional council to take a position with the REMAC representatives. We look from, everything is evidence-based in the medical side, and I think it's important that there's some analysis. We don't see a significant number of complaints or protocol violations that are significantly higher from the critical care side versus the paramedic side. I don't think anybody has totally analyzed that. I don't know if there's resources to do that type of study. But if you look at it just anecdotally, there's not significant more complaints from critical care level to the paramedic side. From the education side, there's much more education, many more hours, many more didactic, more depth and breadth.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you because we did do the research into that. And Mr.
So you're saying
Melanchuk,
there's more
do you remember
complaints?
offhand what it would have taken to get the critical cares up in the bar? We did do that. We spent hours doing that. We figured it out, And it wasn't a ridiculous amount of time, it really wasn't.
Well, I think this,
Well,
I think
to
this
bring
whole
them,
thing,
to bring critical care up to paramedic level was not that much more.
Oh, there's advanced standing in various paramedic programs across the state, but that's currently is an option. There's not a bridge, but there is advanced standing. So,
You're
I
not
think-
understanding me.
you're absolutely right.
Absolutely, okay.
But I'll be glad to
I'm
talk to you
sorry,
afterwards.
you were for the state, right? Okay, never
Yes.
mind.
That's fine, thank you.
I think,
I appreciate your comments.
I think the thing that everybody has to remember, it is actually being looked at.
Yes.
But it's been being looked at for how long?
Not,
For
not.
how many years? How many years? Come on, throw a number out.
I'm not.
That's what's killing me, man. Things,
Yeah, it's
people on this,
Can you tell me,
will die before they get that
can
done.
you throw the number out, just?
What, I'm sorry, what number are you
Okay.
looking at?
I think there's roughly, help me with this, because my memory's getting old, 35,000, 50,000 EMTs in the state of New York. I mean,
There's certified providers is about, you're talking about EMTs?
just EMTs. I think it's 35 or 55.
Yes, that's very close,
35,000. Medics, I think,
62,000 total certified providers, is
Okay.
about 60 to 62,000, depending on the year, because they refer, 3 years.
okay,
It varies.
but the medics are 5 to 10,000. It's a small number.
7,500.
7,500, so
Yeah,
just for the sake of conversation.
He's got the statistics in front of him, so it's.
Just for the sake, you're looking at,
But I don't have it.
you're looking at 6,200 medics, 1,500 approximately level threes, or whatever you want to call them.
1,800 is what we
And
said, yes.
the
700 to 800 in this region.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, it's not a big percentage of
Correct.
people that are ALS. It's just not,
You're right.
that's all.
Yeah, it's amazing. You could look at statistically, the number is low for advanced providers.
Exactly.
At all levels. Yeah.
Further comments on that topic?
Oh, sorry, I made that a little bit long. I was just bringing in the fact that it was. Go
Can
ahead.
I just say one more thing? I just think it's important that there's communication with the REMAC to see where they're going. They've said at several meetings that they are looking to evaluate whether to phase that level of certification out in the region. And I think that from the Big Lakes perspective,
Correct. And I do
you guys
attend the REMAC
rely on them,
meetings.
and you need to communicate that. Whatever your findings are, whatever that information you want to be presented to them, I think it's important that you communicate with them, okay? That's all I'm saying.
In my opinion, the impression that I get is that level is in jeopardy. That's the impression I get.
If you look at the direction the REMAC has been talking, I would agree with you 100%.
But they are receptive to coming up with some sort of program to, they can either go back to or down to the advanced EMT level, or some provisions so they can upgrade to paramedic level.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up to this point, is why it had to be brought up, because that's what the REMAC is looking into, is due to the fact that all the other areas, Erie, Wyoming, Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Allegheny counties, they're dwindling in numbers on there, whereas opposed to the Big Lakes region, such as Niagara County, is relied heavily on critical care levels, and that should be noted and brought to the REMAC's attention, not just myself. So that's why I brought it up to you guys. Other than that, did had some Big Lakes mail, so some from core sponsors, from Leroy Ambulance and N-Trip for EMT originals and things of that nature. And you want me to go over this, Wade?
Yes, if you would.
There was communication from what's called hand-heavy pediatric emergency standards. They're just looking to see if anybody was interested to buy into it. It's sort of like something similar to like a PD wheel or etc. See if guys want a demonstration on it, if you wanted to implement it into your agencies. But I do have to also tell you is further on to like the collaborative protocol. They are looking into having like apps, like phone apps, to have those distributed to anybody who is on the collaborative. And a lot of times is they can have protocols, and they're looking into possibly implementing some pediatric type of dosaging type stuff into the app. That's very, very early on, so I don't know if that's going anywhere, just to keep you in the heads with that. But I believe her name was Monique, And if you guys have any questions, I have our contact information. If you guys want demonstrations done or any other pamphlet information, I have that up there for you. You can see me after the meeting for that. And after that,
Did you mention the one I just gave you, the Kendall one?
also have Kendall's. Yeah. Is that Kendall's right there? Okay. Kendall's core sponsor.
Yeah, we have, Kendall is gonna be having a EMT original that starts the 8th of September and refresher the original starts on the 10th, the refresher's on the 8th, and it's a Saturday class to try to help facilitate those people that could do Tuesday, Thursday. So it's a Saturday, it is all day Saturday, but for those people that work the afternoons, nights, whatever, so they're gonna be having that. Sign up at the EMO.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of EMT classes coming up through the fall, scattered everywhere. So definitely try to get individuals in the fire departments, try to push them, say, hey, why don't you try it, and get some more EMTs out there. That's all I have.
Any questions for Randy? Okay, we'll move on to the county reports. This is Orleans County. Anything you want to bring up the report?
Jason sent out a letter to everybody?
Oh, well, yeah, about the equipment.
Yeah, well, just so
Yeah.
that,
We're just doing a county inventory of our equipment. Some of it's owned by the county, some of it was facilitated through this council here. So we just wanted to get an accurate inventory so we can either reallocate or put in some sort of budget from the EMS council to purchase more equipment for the county in the future. So, and Barb is gonna head that up and go to everybody's fire station and catalog it. That's about it. I don't think anything else.
Genesee County?
No report for Genesee County, other than we've got 2 sponsorships that are offering EMT classes, Leroy and City of Batavia Fire.
Niagara County? We'll get back on track here. Go to new business. We have a vacancy for council secretary. Currently, Sean has been filling in that position. I'm going to ask the floor if anybody's interested in that position at all. Okay, if we have no interest being appointed previously, we have to have a vote. If Sean's willing to accept the position, it's totally up to him.
I told you I would if nobody else would.
What are the executive positions again?
Chair, vice chair, treasurer.
Secretary.
Secretary treasurer.
You have a secretary treasurer.
Section 3 is listed as, section 1 of Article 4, council chair. Section 2 is vice chair. Section 3 is secretary. Section 4 is treasurer. State council reps and alternatives. And then section 6 talks about officer vacancy.
I've been here 35 years, and there has never been more than 3 officer positions, just so you know.
Bylaws.
These were the bylaws.
I'm just saying, just so you know.
This is the last set of bylaws that we had, John.
Just commenting,
Yeah.
is there anybody in here that disagrees with my statement?
It doesn't matter, the bylaws say
For what?
officers.
There's only been 3 elected positions to officers. Chair, vice chair, secretary chair.
No.
I don't,
Treasurer's on there.
secretary treasurer.
Well, for the bylaws, like I said, Sean was appointed temporary secretary's position, and he's willing to assume that position. We had no objection. As the vice chairman, cast a vote.
No objections to that. I'll make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
I'll second it.
Mike Fuller. Sean is officially the secretary. Thank you, Sean.
What's that?
We have a bylaw change proposal, needs to be brought up, there's asked to be brought up tonight. Right. Amendments. So section one, I'll go through the bylaw amendment article first. A notice of proposal or intent to change the bylaws must be provided to members of the council. Sufficient notice is accomplished by announcing the proposed bylaw change or a statement indicating the intent to modify them at a regular business meeting prior to the meeting at which the vote is taken. Or by written notification, proposal or intent to modify the bylaws to the members of the council. Either method requires at least a 20-day period elapsed between the announcement and the vote. The notice must contain at least a statement of the proposed changes and the anticipated date of the vote. The motion to amend the bylaws must be approved by 2/3 of membership of the council eligible to vote. So the proposed bylaw change, as noted on 810 by Lori Schwab, council officers. All council officer nominations will be presented by the Nominations, Elections, and Governance Committee at the December meeting. The terms of the office shall be January 1st to December 31st of the year the term expires. Chairman, 4-year term. Vice chairman, 4-year term. Treasurer, 3-year term. Secretary, 3-year term. Laura, you want to talk about the background on this?
Having a board of directors oversee our organization, it's good not to have every officer leave every year due to the continuity of business being dropped off, things not being completed. Especially this year because we didn't even do elections until February, and elections were supposed to be done in December. So I thought if you staggered terms, you'd have more, you know, 2 will leave, 2 will still stay on, so that when 2 new come in, that business can keep going.
So if elections were to be held in December of 16, 2 offices would change, and then the next office change, voting that takes place would be following December of 17, correct? So it'd be 2 officers would change December of 16. And then December of 17, the next 2 offices would have their,
I was suggesting you staggered them in like 3 and 4 years.
to do the elections all at once.
Yes,
And then 2 folks would have 4-year terms, 2 folks would have.
yes.
Why a 4-year term?
Yeah.
There was a suggestion in the beginning of the bylaws that all seats on big leagues
All
are 4-year
membership
terms.
terms are supposed to be 4 years.
It's in the bylaws that it's a 4-year term today.
Yes, for all members on the council.
No. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if in the bylaws today, the elected offices are for 4 years. No.
For members, yes, for officers, no.
Thank you for clarifying that.
That's why we're proposing a bylaw change, and it'll be voted on at the next meeting.
I'm just asking for a clarification, not an objection, a clarification. So someone answer me why 4 years?
Well, like we said, it's difficult for the same people to accomplish a lot in 1 year's time. I and then there could be a total, you know, change of horses, you know, type of thing. Well, everybody's been making a lot of great progress. I'm not saying that the same people will end up with the offices, but I am saying that I agree that the board terms should match the membership terms and be for 4 years. Or the other ones are 3 years. That's up to the body.
Exactly.
We can have a vote at the next meeting for the bylaws. Mr. Duran?
There's another part that, there's 3 4-year terms, which John and I have both beat to death a long time ago.
And there's a special consideration in there for that.
Yes, and that part I think ought to be thrown out, because it should be up to the local council to send whoever they want. Also, the other thing is, if you have the chair, vice chair, and treasurer on different cycles, we try to have them from different counties. My thought is not to change this, but to, it's been forever since the bylaws have even been looked at. And if you're going to make one change, let's go ahead and appoint a bylaw committee and go through and do the changes. While we have people here that know the original intent, basically, of the bylaws, and we can argue them out and change them all. Or
Sean,
keep them all.
didn't you just do that a few years ago?
It's been a number of years since we did it.
It doesn't seem like that long ago.
What was wrong with
I
that?
wanna say 2010, 2011.
I thought it was,
And I mean, people have asked for them since then, you know, and I've sent them out again. And, you know, with this topic coming up, I'm gonna send them out again just so everybody has a copy of them, so to review again, because
I was under the impression it's been longer than that.
I'm gonna make the motion that we establish a bylaw committee to review all the bylaws.
You want 3 pages, 4 pages?
I'll second it. Okay, you got a motion on the table? You got
And review all the bylaws.
Did?
I never made the motion.
I thought you did.
No, he's saying what he was proposing.
No,
Never made the
I thought this
motion.
was Lori's proposal.
Well,
So I
we
never
thought,
got a
got a
second.
motion on the table.
She's already started with her.
I seconded it.
so that's the actual one, start a bylaw committee now. So the motion and second.
Take a vote.
All in favor?
What are we voting for?
Yeah,
A
that's.
bylaw.
Bylaw committee to look at everything.
Just to comment on the recommended bylaw change, if you go with the 4 and 3, year 12, everybody's gonna change. So you'd actually be better off going with 4 and 4, but on a stagger. If you're gonna go like that, so that way you got.
I would recommend 2 and 2. 2 and 2 at both.
Well, you know what, let's vote on it.
All in favor of the bylaw committee?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
So what are we doing with Lori's thing?
Oh, we had a lawyer do ours, it was
Yeah, I mean, to review it.
$4,800.
I know when we did the counties, we had to have it go through the county's
Yeah,
lawyer.
it's very expensive.
And I would think that we would have to, even though we approve it, we'd have to be advisable for them to look at it.
Just keep in mind, we're only to do it
I know.
right now.
Right.
So, I mean, doing it and,
Well, I wasn't sure if there was,
you know, at some point, if
We had
that's,
council.
you know, or whoever the committee is, that should be one thing.
And make your
And have a review of
not hardly any changes at all.
Yeah, you never know.
Sean, when you did these, were they reviewed by an attorney?
No. No, Mike Max started those, he gave them to me, we tweaked them a little bit and proceeded from there. Because the other ones were very outdated at the time, so, and those kind of brought us more into line with where we should be.
I just know, yeah, the common practice, I've gone through a couple bylaws changes, and they've all been overseen by council, by a lawyer. So, just standard of practice nowadays, I guess.
And when I, yeah, when I ended up getting ours for the ambulance service, it's like the big thing was, you write your bylaws, you never change. The bylaws do not change, you make policies.
Yeah.
But you wanna make sure your bylaws are right, but if we've never had an attorney do them, we should prepare something, have it reviewed by an attorney, make sure he gives it his blessing, and then you try to leave that alone because you don't want to be changing your bylaws. But a lot of fire departments, everybody does, but that was our attorney's position on it.
You initially proposed some of a bylaw change. Would you be interested in being part of the committee to review the bylaws? But anybody else would be interested in being on that committee?
I'll sit in that committee. Take Sean, sit in. He's been around.
Well, Sean wrote the last one, so yeah, he should.
The plate's getting awful big, that's where.
I know, that's why I was waiting for some other people. It really was.
Anybody else in Genesee County that wants to?
Mr. Scapano?
I'm happy to, you know, because
Resources.
I don't want to chair by any means, let that group decide who's gonna chair, but.
Chris,
Or,
is that on there?
Yeah.
and then I'll email out. Copy just for everybody.
So what do you got for? John Mallon, Chuck, myself, Sean, and Chris Cabana?
No, Sean.
No, Sean.
Sean and
He's just an advisor.
committee.
As a resource, he was.
Yeah, they were saying put me as a resource.
As a consultant.
Okay.
Do we have any other new business? Do I have a motion to adjourn? By now, Chuck, Marianne. Thank you, everybody.